Have you ever wondered whether or not you would prefer to have a paycheck with a job versus a paycheck without a job? Now let that settle in for a second and ask yourself, what would that say about my character, about my leadership skills, about the potential for who I am and who I'll become going further in life? And then ask yourself again, if I were coming out of high school, going into college, or coming out of college and going into my career, would I rather have a paycheck that comes with a job or a paycheck that requires no job at all? Welcome to Leading Leaders Podcast, 5-minute videos, 5 days a week. See, I think the truth of the fact is there are a whole lot of young people today who've been given the idea, and when I say given, I mean it's been kind of laid in their lap for a long time, that there is such a thing that your college can be free and medical care can be free, and so your education is free from the time you get out of the cradle until you climb into the grave. Everything is going to be given to you that you're not necessarily going to have to work for those things. You just show up and do them, and someone else is going to make sure that you have them. And at the same time, there's this understanding that you will be expected to work, but we'll tell you when. Just stand by until we tell you that it's time to do what we tell you to. But what we tell you to do may not necessarily be work. It may not be a career. It may not be a vocation per se. It may be something entirely different. It may be that what we're going to ask you to do is just comply. What we're going to ask you to do is just be a part of the system. We don't need you to, make anything or create anything new. We don't need you to reinvent the world, so to speak. We just need you to do what you were told, and we'll pay you. We'll send you a check. If you'll just comply, we'll send you a check. Now that doesn't seem like a practical process, does it? I mean, it doesn't seem like something we do. Or do we? Anybody ever been on unemployment? I've been on unemployment maybe twice in my life. I'm pretty sure it was only once, may have been twice. But during that season that I was on unemployment, there were forms that had to be filled out on a regular basis. There were job interviews that had to be conducted on a regular basis. There were certain parameters to get the free check for not having a job that they were kind of attached. Now, we've heard of these attachments to jobs and everything from food stamps to Medicare benefits and all these other things that they've been threatened with. Well, you have to have a job, or you have to at least be trying to get a job, or you can only have so many kind of people living in your house, whether it's husbands or wives or whatever else, and you can't be taking benefits from this. And I know people who have cash side jobs because their disability check that they get from the government on a regular basis demands that if they earn too much money, they have to give back the disability. I also know that there are people who are in their retirement age, and if they have assets over a certain amount, and when I say a certain amount, I mean like $2,000. I mean, if you were receiving benefits like Medicare or Medicaid, and your benefits were dependent on your income, and you own something like an old car that's worth more than $2,000, you can lose all your benefits. The same thing if you hand those down in the form of a legacy or an inheritance to someone else who actually is getting those kind of benefits, that those benefits evaporate if you have any ability to support yourself. Now, I'm not saying that those benefits are a bad thing. What I'm saying is that when those benefits, like an incentive, and I worked in sales long enough to know that as a sales manager, you get what you incentivize. If you're going to pay me to sell gizmos and not widgets, guess how many widgets I'm selling? 0, zip, zilch, nada. Guess how many gizmos I'm selling? As many as I can. If gizmos pay and widgets don't pay, I don't care about widgets. I'm selling gizmos. Gizmos make me money. That's what I want. I'm going to do what leads to the income. You get more of what you incentivize. If you incentivize staying at home, filling out the paperwork, being compliant, you don't have to actually get a job, you just have to apply for a job. So if you apply for the job you're not qualified for, that's cool. If you qualify for the job but you mess up the interview, well, that's cool. At least you apply. And as long as you apply, you still get the benefits. So you're getting paid to go flub up a job interview and not actually get the job. Because if you get the job, the chances are at the current minimum wage and even the proposed minimum wage, you're going to make more on unemployment. Your stimulus check will be worth more money to sit home and be compliant than the amount of money you can earn doing the job you work 30, 40 hours a week for and bust your butt at. Tell me we're not incentivizing a certain kind of behavior. That's a pretty big thing. I was listening to a young lady from what used to be the USSR. She was speaking the other day, and she said, you may not know it, but when the entire USSR was reallocated into the Soviet Union, one of the first things they did was what they called UBI, Universal Basic Income. It's a tenet of socialism, no private property. Everything belongs to the state. It's all community property. We all share it. And the way they did UBI, Universal Basic Income, was through a stimulus check. The government sent money to everyone, and everyone got a little bit of money. Not enough to own anything on, not enough to start or run a business on, not enough to survive and thrive on, but enough to get by almost. That's a whole different thing than having a job and having independence and having the freedom to come and go as you wish, to be where you want to, with who you want to, doing what you want to, which I believe from Jack Canfield to Tony Robbins to Dean Graziosi, that's how they define success, to do what you want to, when you want to, with whom you want to. But that requires financial freedom, and financial freedom requires the ability to earn on your own. If you had the choice, will I have a job with a paycheck? Or will I have a paycheck without a job? If you had to choose between those two, which one would it be? I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast for Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.
Subscribe now for our extensive video library of leadership lessons promoting faith, family, and freedom.